Give me a second. I'm still trying to get this stuff straight. Don't worry about that right now. Good evening, ladies and gents. This is DFG and the place to be. The man with the golden voice, ladies' choice, and of course, smooth as a Rolls Royce. Coming to you live from the 571, where I'm having fun and I'm getting things done. Sorry for I had to move the show back. I had another meeting. I'm going to my school's homecoming this year. 75th anniversary of my chapter being chartered at Benedict College in lovely Columbia, South Carolina. Chalk the Pearl came on earlier, and I didn't see Apple, but got the show must go on. The show must go on. Oh, there's Apple right there. So looking at everything, just when we were just my plan was I was looking at different topics that I was going to talk about tonight. One I was looking at was body autonomy. And what does body autonomy means? It means you get to decide what happens to your body and not really anybody else. I didn't do too much research on it, but that was one of the subjects I came up with. Ms. Kim, in the earlier conversation, she was thinking about a subject that I might have wanted to touch on. You remember the subject you was thinking about earlier, Kim?
We were talking about like hospice husband or wife or just significant other when you're in a relationship and one or the other becomes ill and you kind of have to be like a caretaker, not to the point that they can't do for themselves, but they're needing that extra help, like taken to the doctor or changing their what you call it colostomy bag, stuff like that. And they call them a hospice partner.
Yeah. Now, here's my opinion. I mean, I may be wrong. I probably am wrong, but I'm going to say it anyway. Mostly, that's mostly that's one unidirectional. For the most part, most men would not take care of an infirmed wife. Don't know. We're not. Most of us are not built like that, and it only takes changing a diaper or a colostomy bag 2 or 3 times before you're like, man. Now your kids are another story. That's another story. But your significant other, um, most men won't do it. Now, depending on the age spread, the finances, and the feelings of the partners, most women would do that for men. Most women would take care of men until they physically can't anymore. Um, if they were grown up, if they came up together, they were together 20, 30 years, and the the setup was and the setup was, we were together 30 years and one of us gets sick, the other one would do something and stay with them. However, if me at 50 something get with a 20 something year old that don't have no kids and they young, they ain't gonna take care of me. They might pay somebody to do it, but they ain't gonna take care of me. Am I making sense?
I totally agree with that. They might hire someone. Hi everybody, it's this Apple. They might hire somebody to,
Yeah, in
to
that
help
age
out.
difference, exactly. They would hire somebody.
Yeah. But they're not gonna do it themselves. Now if you guys are the same age and you've been together for X amount of years, then 9 times out of 10, the female spouse would, take care of it. And then that other one time it would be the male spouse taking care of the female.
I can generally agree with that,
Yeah.
but a lot of times, and it's just it's a tough it's a person by person because you know when you're because you think of it like this when you're especially women, and this observation, it's not I don't have numbers to back me up. Most of y'all are nurturers. There's some that aren't, but most of y'all are nurturers, and y'all, and if it's a significant other, a child, or a parent, because some of us have had elderly parents, and some of us had to do things to assist in the caretaking. If we didn't directly do it, we assisted where we could. Um, women are a lot better at that. There are men that can do that, but women are a lot better, and women are more nurturing than most men. As a man, I'd be like, look, I don't know. Probably be like, look, let's see what kind of assisted care, so I can continue doing what I do. Where most women would quit their job if they marry, or if their child is sick or their mother's sick, they will make that their primary. If they have resources to be able to do that, they'll make that their primary mission, because y'all tend to treat people y'all love better than yourselves. So, and you want people to think, hey, I want this done for me. And it's not that simple, but I'm just trying to keep it interesting. I want somebody to treat me right, so I'm going to treat somebody else right. And it's not, like I said, it ain't that cut and dry. We all don't have those motivations, but the golden rule is, treat people like you want to be treated. And women are a lot better at that when it comes to nurturing and caring and stuff than guys are, because guys care different. Guys show love and affection differently. Guys guys do for the most part. Women nurture. Um, but yeah, that's a. Would you, Apple? Would you have a if your significant other had a sickness, and it all depends, or say they were in an accident and they basically lost the lower use of the lower half of their body, would you be able to realistically stay in a type of relationship like that where you know the person isn't the same as when y'all were together, or the situation changed so drastically that it had to be that y'all had to make radical changes?
Me personally, absolutely. Especially if I have the time and the feelings involved. If it's somebody that I just got with like less than a year and something unfortunate like that happened, I can't say that I would. But if we invested time and emotions and we built a solid foundation, then absolutely I would be there for them.
What about you, Kim?
Yeah, absolutely. If we're in a relationship, been there for quite a while, I definitely will be there to whatever needs to be done as far as caring for that person.
No, that makes
All
that makes
hands down. I mean, well, you already know how I am. So, I am a caring person. And if someone's hurting or in need, you know, hands down, I'm gonna be there. I'll be there as far as taking you to the doctor or just being there as a support system for you, with whatever you're going through. Sometimes it's easier said than done, like being patient with that person. But if you really genuinely care for that person, you would make those sacrifices.
that sounds no, I mean that's what's up.
Let me
Um,
ask you a question. Do you think the nurturing part is it comes natural for women, or is it because of our upbringing? that
It is, it
parents
is,
tend to
I'm
teach.
gonna say yes and no. Um,
Not
this
for
is,
all women, I don't think it does.
yeah, yeah, no, I don't, no, understand. Some of it, some of it is, some of it is nature. You don't know how to feed a baby, but when you're growing up and you see that, okay. Um, a lot of it is drilled into you because when you're young, your parents give you a baby doll, and then when you have a baby doll, you know, you're indoctrinated to, hey, girls play with dolls, boys play with stuff. You learn, the baby need to eat. The baby, you might not know what to feed them, but you understand the baby needs to eat, and the baby needs to be changed, and the baby needs to sleep. Those are things that boys don't really, because they become, boys are self-centered. I am one, I have them, and I know, and have to be
But
socialized to understand how to share. But women are socialized, but they still have that ability to learn. And that's not there's I say about 10% of women should have never been parents. Should have never been parents, and they lack the compassion, they lack the capacity, they lack the patience, they lack a whole lot of things that would make them a nurturer. So women can be taught how to nurture, but there's an innate sense in y'all and this is an observation, like I said, I don't have data to back it up. There's an innate nature in you to care about stuff initially, because you go from, you know, y'all selfish when you're babies. But as you get older, Apple, when Bean was born, you were about 4, but you were still there with the baby. You know what I mean? I was 10 and I still wasn't one. I didn't want to touch Bean.
I didn't want
I,
her nowhere near me. I was so
yeah.
jealous. I was jealous
So,
when she took over. Yeah.
yeah. So those things, like I said, they're not instincts because um, humans don't have instincts like animals do. But there are things, like I said, there's a portion in it that shows what to care, because even if you're not a mother and somebody shows you how to hold a baby, y'all automatically seem to figure that out real quick. Real quick. It's like when boys want to touch a newborn. It's like, I ain't want to hold my sons, but you're like, nah, I don't know what the
but
and
you
Yeah.
know what?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kim.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I know, some guys that are better with caring for the kids more so than the mother. They took over like getting up in the middle of the night more so than the mother did. They were more of the caregiver. I met guys that way.
I was gonna say something like that because my boys are nurturers. But
Yeah.
I don't know if that came naturally for them or something that they picked up, trying to emulate me, because I have one grandchild and my son took over the nurturing part. Her mother's a wonderful mother, but she's not as much of a nurturer as my son is.
Mm,
And
yeah.
even though you would think it would be the total opposite, he was the one getting up in the middle of the night, changing Pampers, making bottles, you know, when she started preschool, he was the one, taking her to school and, doing things like that. And now the mother, they both worked and both of them were in the home at the time. But he was the one that did the day-to-day things. But she cooked and did everything else. But as far as like hands-on and nurturing, it was him. So I don't, that's why I asked you the question, do you think that that's something that naturally occurs in women and men, or is that something that's taught, or because how you're raised, that's why I asked the question. Because my
Well,
son is totally different than the norm when it comes to that.
but a lot of people learn from emulation, and especially if it's something there's something they're interested in, they're gonna emulate till they get it right. Like I said, some people are just not should not have children, should not have children
I
because
agree.
they can barely function as a human. Now, I don't mean that as they can't, they're physically or mentally something's defective. It's just if you're antisocial and you don't know how to deal with people and you can't you're an extreme introvert, children aren't for you because children demand attention. They don't ask for it; they demand it. Especially the younger they get, because we all Gen Xers in here, and when we were growing up, it was children are seen, not heard.
Yeah, definitely.
So and today we encourage our children to speak to us because we don't want to be the way we were with our parents. Like, tell my parents something? You must be out of your cotton picking mind.
Right. And
One
they
they
don't want
one of them
any secrets.
Yeah, one they didn't hold. My parents never held couldn't hold their water,
Hmm.
and and two, the gossip in the family be like on 100. So you just learn, our generation learned that now you keep that stuff to yourself, and that's why we have a hard. I think that's why we have a hard time expressing ourselves because we were like, who is this person going to tell? I can tell you a lot of stories on that. Walking to the store with my mother, and she's stopping on, and my mother is like, actually, my mother never met a stranger, never,
That's
and
true.
she was talking about, look at my son. My son is, and I'll be so embarrassed. I'm like, no, Ma, stop talking about me. Stop talking about me. People are going to get mad. Uh, I'm going to talk about you all I want. You, my son. You, my son. You know how, Apple, you know how it was. You were
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So it was, I learned how to do stuff with babies because I had a much younger sister and brother that I got stuck babysitting all the time. But having children, there's no owner's manual, but you kind of have an idea of what to do and definitely know what not to do. But some people just aren't. They just aren't meant to be parents, and that's what I got. Scenario, Miss Andrine, how you doing tonight?
Good.
So I got
Um,
I got a scenario for you. Um, one of your daughters comes home with a guy, say they're in their early 20s, say about 30, 36, and they've been together about 6, 7 months, and um he's you know him, you like him, he's decent. Um, Comes to find out they get married. Come to find out he has cancer, and he's thinking that your daughter's going to take care of him. What would you tell your daughters if that was the case?
That's a hard and complicated situation. So I feel like that's still a fairly new relationship, just given your parameters. So I don't necessarily think I would agree to them taking on someone or even playing that role because you said they've been together 6 or 7 months. That's
Yeah,
not a
Yeah,
And
but 20-year-olds, that's a long-term relationship.
I mean, it might be, but I don't know. I feel like when someone is terminally ill and you've only invested 6 or 7 months with them, that's not enough time for you to give up yourself to kind of like take control and take over. It would have had to have been more time. And because
Okay.
I feel like at the end of the day, it's almost like I get it, you want to be there for that person, but they're still would be younger than him because they would be this age that they are now.
Now I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench in there. Okay, he finds out that he's got cancer, and you know, even with the wonders of medicine, if it's
Right.
metastasized, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
If it's
It's right.
if it's stage 4,
Right.
and she found out, would you still have the same feeling? Because once you get to that one, they maybe have a year or two.
I don't, at the end of the day, I don't necessarily know if feelings, my feeling is dependent on the amount of time that they have invested in this relationship. And 6 months just isn't long enough, even if he does have stage 4, which again means he really won't be around. Well, who's to say, but longer for, I don't know. I don't know. I think that's complicated and loaded, but I would not be encouraging them to continue. I would be encouraging them to wish him well and be there, but not to give up themselves to take on full time care.
Okay. Same question to you, Kim.
What was the question again?
The question was, you have daughters. You have daughters, well, they're under 30. They get with a guy 42, 43. They're dating for 6, 7 months. They, they get married, and he finds out he has stage 4 cancer. What advice would you give to your daughters? And
You
would you
say
be
they get
okay?
married. You say they got
They got
married?
married. Yeah, they got married.
Ooh, wait a minute. Because I'm thinking like with my youngest one that's gonna be 24. I don't know about that. Now with my oldest one, because she's gonna turn 30 and he's 40, of course I would be like, be supportive of him because even though he has cancer, um, who knows what God has in store. I mean, he could be cured, from the cancer because I've known people. My sister had stage 4 breast cancer and she's still here with us. So I would want her to turn her back on him, especially if they're married. No, if they're just dating, I would want her to give up her life just to care for him, but to be supportive. Um, I wouldn't want, because cancer is heavy in my family, I wouldn't want nobody to turn their back on me. So I wouldn't want them to turn their back on that person just because he has cancer. So that's just how I feel about it.
Understood. Apple, same question.
Um, I kind of agree with both. Being married and dating is two different things. The way you posed it, to Andrine, it was like, your daughter was dating.
Initially, I did say initially they were dating, and
Right.
then they got married later.
So a marriage, that's a commitment, um, that you have to honor. And if, if your husband happens to get sick with stage 4 cancer, or any kind of, something like that, then, you're kind of not obligated, but you married this person, so you should want to give them the best possible end of life, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
you should be
It
there.
does.
No,
Hmm.
you should be there for them. No matter, you knew you married someone older, and unfortunate, unfortunately, it's not going to last as long as you thought it was because they are ill. Then you kind of put yourself in that situation. So I would tell my daughter, you have to honor your commitment.
Right.
Absolutely.
You
Right.
if this is what you chose. It's not exactly what you planned it to be, but this
And
is
like I said, you
now.
met the person.
Now, if it
You
was
don't know
dating,
they didn't know the person that long, but they introduced you before they got married. They were together like 6, 7 months, and they down the road they got married.
Andre, with that being said, my niece dated, she just recently got married about a year ago. She lives out in Texas. And the guy that she was dating, he had cancer. He was in remission. He proposed, they got married. The cancer came back, and he's still going through chemo and everything. And they're doing well. So I just don't, if you're married to that person, I just don't see you. That's like Kendra said, um, Apple said, that's a commitment. You don't turn your back on someone once you're committed to them.
Oh no, I agree because I mean, like I said, it's the golden rule, and most women who've been raised halfway decent and are right in the head understand that.
Right,
Um, so the thing is that it's a balance, and as adult women, yeah, yeah, I realize that y'all gotta sometimes you have to be you're their mom, but you're also more their advisor because a lot of times, and we do this as parents, we tend to we tend to treat our parents like they're our children as they get older, but we hate it when it's done to us. That's just, I mean, am I going to get any arguments there?
none at all.
nope,
None at all.
So saying that is like I said, we have to take stock of ourselves, say, understanding that we can parent our children up to a certain point, but then we really have to look at it as, hey, if my parents saying this to me, I'd be upset. So I got that's kind of sometimes we forget that we were once somebody's children. That's that's the bottom line, or somebody's nephew or somebody's grandchild. So we weren't always these omnipotent, wise folks, and neither were our parents. But you understand, the worst thing that my mother used to say to me, and she didn't say that as mean, but she would tell me, she said, I hope when you have children, they just like you. And
Oh, she said that to me, but she meant it meanly, and it happened. It definitely happened.
and so it's just I see, in my three sons, I see me in all of them in different mannerisms, different ways they act. However, it's one of those things I had to learn because my mother lived with me. It was like I was like conflicted because I said this is my mother, but she's in my house, and and it was kind of sweet when I said you don't pay no bills in here. And then then the way she looked at me, and you know how my mother looked at me. Um, the way she looked at me, I said, "That's probably how I look. That's probably how I look when Randall say something like that. You don't pay no bills here, because I say that to him all the time. You don't pay when you pay your own rent. You can say what you want, but you can't do it now. So that's why I said it's better for you guys to be advisors than to try to parent grown folks. Because the more you parent grown folks, the worse it gets. So, but another thing, I don't know if y'all been seeing online trending HBCU homecomings. Um,
Yes.
Yeah.
a lot of our sisters, I'm talking late 30s, early 40s and up, they come to homecoming like they back in school. They try to compete with their daughters for the attention of their sons. It was one lady in a yellow dress, and the sweater puppies was like spread out. She didn't have cleavage. She had a canyonage because it was like she tried to
Goodness.
tape them under. It was like she tried to tape them under her underarms.
Oh Lord.
I would show you the picture, but I'm not gonna spoil your dinner. I said, we talk all this trash about we talk all this trash, and this goes back to y'all because y'all all got girls. I don't have any. If you took your children to a homecoming event and you dress like your children, what do you think your daughters would say? I'm gonna start with Kim this time.
Uh, Go back in the house and put some clothes on and dress your age.
No,
Uh, where you
that's
think you go, especially that youngest one, and where you think you going?
because the same. I mean, but that means that she was raised right because
Yeah.
if 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 they're going to go out your house, we all used to tell them, and as our parents told us, you represent us. Don't you go out there and embarrass me. And then the script flips. But what, Andrine, what would get a 40-year-old, 30, late 40 trying to dress like a 19-year-old? What what do you think they get out of that? I know you don't do that, but I'm just bringing the question to you. Oh, she must be watching TV. Apple, the gremlin ain't gonna let you go out the house any type of
Oh,
way.
she will stop me immediately, like immediately, and then she'll call her brothers to double team me. But
Yeah,
I don't know what. Maybe they're trying to capture something from their youth, or some women my age, they dress young and they look good, and some don't, unfortunately. But to
yeah,
me, if you have
that's the
the confidence
majority.
to wear, if
Yeah, that's is
if
that
they have the
confidence or is that delusion?
it could be a little of both. It's not mutually exclusive. You know,
Okay,
you could be
I'm gonna give you a
confident
sight
in,
you can't unseen.
yeah, but you could be
Imagine,
confident in your delusions.
yeah,
Most
but
people
it's
are,
Yeah.
okay.
and
Picture me
what may
now.
not look good to you may look good to others.
Okay. I'm tell you. Let me picture me in a yellow banana speedo right now. The way I look.
I couldn't picture you like that in your 20s. I would be like, what is going on? You having some kind of problem? But that's just me, you
Oh, that's
know.
that Apple. That ain't just you. That's everybody on this panel, including me. Oh, man.
But
Look,
it's funny because most of us, we try to the Gen Z generation, the way the girls dress now, when I was that age, I would never dream of dressing in that particular style. But my daughter, she switches up. She'll wear baggy clothes one day, and the next day she's wearing boot floss, in my opinion. But as long as she feels comfortable, I don't really tell her what to wear. I'll let her know, if I like it or if I don't like it, but I won't, be like, oh no, put some clothes on, because maybe she don't feel like putting clothes. But I'm different. I'm more progressive than a lot of people. And I feel like the
I
same way.
understand that,
I have
but
a I have a friend. She sits in her car and looks at people all day, just sitting in her car. and talking about people. And I'm like, what joy do you get out of that? Just because
Well,
that girl happens to be 300 pounds and she got on the booty shorts and the crop top, that's her. You don't have to wear it. Why are you worried about what you have?
that's not
Turn your
booty
head.
short, Apple. That's a crime.
Listen.
Assault on my eyeballs. I
And
cannot see
you
that.
don't you don't have to look at her. She's the one that has to wear that. She's the one, has to feel good in her body. Just like the first topic that you brought up, the body autonomy. Whatever I put on, if I feel good and it makes me feel good, it shouldn't matter to you whether you got to look at it or not, because you can always turn your head or close your eyes. You know,
Okay.
I'm a little more conservative than a lot of people as far as dressing. I mean, I could get ratchet when I want to, but for the most part, I'm a little more
No,
conservative.
no.
Yeah, I am
But
too,
I
Apple.
don't down anybody, if they want to, show a little cleavage or a little thigh, whatever. I don't down them. I'm like, you go, girl. If that's what you feeling like, then go ahead. I'm all for it. It
Okay,
wouldn't be my personal, choice, especially if you're in your 50s and you walking around with your cheeks showing. That's not cute to me. But
That is not cute at all.
they're not
if
cheeks.
you
They're
like it, I
definitely
love it.
gowns. Do your butt hang low? Can you walk to and fro?
Right.
Well, that's like that video I saw. I was telling you about the girl had on a mini skirt. She was at
Yeah.
homecoming,
Oh
and
God.
he was like, her butt cheek were hanging out from up under the mini skirt. He was like, either her skirt too short or her butt too long. I mean, it was literally visible. You could see her behind.
And
And she
some
probably
people
had
find that
long.
appealing. I wouldn't do it, but when I was in my 20s and early 30s, I did. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and hold you. I had it all hanging out when I was, of age, but 50, even in, late 40s, I don't think you should do it, but that's just me. But some people,
Yeah,
feel differently.
I look at it like this too, because there's certain things at certain ages. I'm not gonna say don't, like you said, we're in America. We should be able to wear what we want, and if that's what. But there's certain ages you shouldn't be wearing certain things. Guys, guys with unkept dreads, you know, said women. If you 50 and you getting a BBL, you ain't something ain't right. Something ain't right. But
And I know somebody that she was 45 and she went down to the Dominican Republic and got herself a BBL and she felt great. It looked terrible to me because her legs were toothpicks. It looked it looked terrible to me, but I congratulated her because it made her happy. It made her feel good about herself. So
she looked like Gru.
yes, 100%. But she felt good about herself. So who am I to take that away from her? I keep my opinion to myself and, shake my head and keep on moving.
That's all you can do, Apple.
That's
Just
all you
shake
can
your head.
do.
Yeah, it's just crazy though, because I mean, I saw this dude driving through DC. I saw this dude. He had to been he looked about 80, but he's probably around his late 40s, hard life. Dude rocking the do-rag, got in the sagging to where the belt's below his hip. So you see all his unwashed underwear.
That to me, that's absolutely ridiculous. But again, I wouldn't find him attractive, but somebody else would. But that's absolutely another thing, I hate to see men in their 40s with long hair. I just think that looks absolutely ridiculous. I don't know. It's just me. I mean, unless it's like if you have locks, nice done locks and they look very, neat and, put together, then that's different. But if you just walking around with a super fly perm and you think that's good looking and you like 45, 50 years old, I think that looks ridiculous. Or, with the slick back ponytail, no. But then again, it's not me. If that's what you feel good in and you think it look good, then go ahead. Or with the gold teeth and you in your 50s, that look terrible to me.
Oh
Some
yeah.
people find that attractive. It's not just
Yeah.
about the women wearing the hoochie mama clothes. It's
Oh
about
no,
the
no,
men
no.
that,
Trust me. There are things that people doesn't matter. Agnostic. If you have if you have a certain appearance and you wear that stuff, you're like you said. If you love it, if you like it, I ain't gotta love it because I ain't gotta wear it. But I'm like, mm, I just be like, I gotta shake my head and just like, keep my mouth shut because
right.
you
And
can't.
I'm of the mind of what you eat don't make me poop.
Yep, exactly.
So it's none of my business. I'm just gonna move on with life. It's not stopping me. I'll probably have an opinion, but I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna voice it. If I see a grown man with his drawers showing because his pants are sagging down to his mid thigh, that's ridiculous to me. But if
I
that's
agree.
something that you feel comfortable with your whole butt hanging out, then go ahead, just like with a woman. If you 45, 50 years old and your butt is hanging out and yeah, that doesn't look good to me. But, who am I? I'm one person.
They be having plumber's disease, half half moon in it.
Right.
But yes, that's. I mean, it's just crazy how things have relatively stayed the same, but they also changed. And because what the line is fluid. It's not a solid line because 50 years ago, you know, we had different mores, but like I said, our grandparents were still alive most for the most part, and our parents were relatively young, a lot younger, so they were, they were in the 60s. They were coming in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and a lot of stuff had happened during that time with technology. So if you look at what they wore in the 40s, there was no such thing as a two piece in the 40s. Bathing suit, there was
Right.
no such thing as a two piece. Now they had them, but yeah, and really up until the 70s, when the late 60s, early 70s, and at least on the East Coast, that's when they started wearing the two piece bathing suits, and the guys used to have on basically like the shorts they wore in the early 2000s, the Allen Iversons, the ones that go below the knee.
Yes.
That's what that's what their swimwear, guy swimwear was back then. Now, like I said, speedos, and I'm like, nah, I'm good.
What's funny? I seen a video where they were comparing the Golden Girls to the women on Sex and the City, and
Oh,
they were the same age. But if you look at, being in your early 50s, late 40s, in the 80s as compared to now, it's totally different.
yeah,
You are absolutely right.
Because I thought those women were old, old, old. And here I am, their age that they portrayed on TV. And I don't feel like I look anywhere near that age or act that age or, you know what I mean?
hmm
But, they're in their, late 40s, like mid to early 50s. And they look like they were, in their 60s, 70s, in my opinion. So, I guess everything changes over time and, uh 50 is the new 40 or, whatever. So I guess that's why, some of the women, that go into homecoming with their children think that they can still rock certain outfits that they did while they were in college. But
Yeah,
in my head, it's like, why would you want to? Why would you want to look like a teenager? Why would you want to look like, you already established in your 40s. Why would you want to look younger? Why?
well, attention to some women is a hell of a drug.
It is. You're right.
Yeah,
Validation.
and seeking attention.
Hmm. And so a lot of that, is, we a lot of us think we still have it. That's why we go back and tell wonderful lies. And knowing that the person I was in college, I probably ate. That's why I'm twice as big. Um, it gives you perspective because the people at our age, the kids are in college, weren't even born when I was in college.
And
They
some people are just afraid of getting older, so they still trying to hold on to
exactly.
their youth. That's why they continue to dress that way, act that way, because they don't want to mature. They just, and I don't understand it because I I enjoy growing older gracefully.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
Exact. No, I agree. I agree. But you know what though? We all, at this age, we all wish we had a younger, less pain body.
oh well, yeah.
But and sometimes our mind, y'all, I done told the story to y'all ad nauseum, but I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it for the audience. Where my stepmother passed away, and I was flying in to New York from DC, and I had an Airbnb not far out the airport. So me thinking, well, it's not that, it's less than a mile. I can walk a mile. I get off the bus and I start walking, and it's like it had snowed like 2 days before that, like 3 feet of snow. And I'm walking through the snow. I get about 15 steps. I'm like, can't breathe, can't breathe, can't breathe. So get my breath, walk another 15 steps, like I'm about to catch a heart attack. And I said, in the back of my head, I said, "You jackass! You ain't been 25 in 50 years. What the hell you think you doing?" Try to walk up a hill. They would have had to come. They'd have found my frozen behind on the in the snow. Like, ah!
Now that reminds me of the trip that we just took for my daughter's birthday. And they wanted to do, the excursions and stuff. They did zip lining. I said, absolutely not. I go ahead and have fun, and
I was
then
zip lock. I ain't
ATV.
gonna zip line.
Listen, I'll be here by this pool when y'all get back.
It sounds
ATVs.
fun.
Mm-mm.
And it's stuff like that I want to do too, Apple. But in my mind, I'm like, I could do it, but my body said, no, the hell you can't.
Right.
You can't do that no more. You know?
Cannot. Cannot. They said, oh, you want to come with us? No, I'm good. Y'all have fun.
Exactly.
The way my back locked up and said, don't you even try to think about going.
Exactly.
When y'all go on the party boat, I'll be there because it'll be some seats and some cocktails. I'll be at the party boat. But other
Absolutely.
than
That
It's like
part.
we can, like, at our age, they turn up, we turn down.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I can't do
that,
that.
you talking about walking a mile? Please, I could barely walk 2 city blocks.
They say we gonna get turned. Oh yeah, I'm going to get turned too.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be 10:30. You'd be like, what the heck wrong with these folks? Why they taking so long? And they be looking at you like, really? Because that's how we looked at our people. Our people, we used to think they rock all night. 10 o'clock, they be like, oh gosh. And we looking at them like, take your old behinds to bed. Y'all out here embarrassing me. And now we them
Listen,
people. We them
Exactly.
10 o'clock is the new 10 o'clock the new 2 a.m. And speaking of that, it's almost old people 2 a.m. anyway. I want to appreciate y'all for coming on. As always, I had a great time. I want to give Apple a word to say before we go away for the day. Go ahead, Apple.
oh, you always do this to me, and one day I'm going to prepare. But thank you for having me on again, and I always enjoy these little talks. It feels so intimate, even though it's broadcasted to the world.
Yeah.
And I also want to thank Kim and Andrea for joining us this week. And I guess that's about it.
Thank you, Apple. Thank you. And I want to thank y'all for coming on, talking, participating. This was an excellent show. Come in next week out there in YouTube land and Facebook land. We do this once a week, at least for now. Every Tuesday night. Usually it's at 8:30 Eastern. This was a little pushed it back a little bit, special occasion. But y'all have a great time. And I'm gonna say what I'm about to say. Never make love by the garden gate. Though love is blind, the neighbors ain't. Good night, everybody.